Hello all, today we are going to look at the small trap in Queen's Gambit Declined variation. Without further delay, let's go into the game. Here you go for a c4, that is the English opening is on the board. He replaced back with the move knight to f6 and he replaced back with the knight to c3 here. And they are just want to shift the position to the Queen's Gambit with d4 and d5 and going for something c5 pushes here. That's our main idea here. Now white goes for a d5 and he replaced back with the move d5 and also having idea of pushing the pawn to c5. Here he just safeguards his d4 pawn. If the pawn is captured here, that is the Queen's Gambit acceptor variation, we will just push it forward or put our pawn to e3 and will attack the pawn on c4 with our bishop, and it is playable for the white here. And this is a three knight variation in the Queen's Gambit Declined variation because he didn't accept the pawn till now, so it is a declined variation. Now it goes for a bishop to e7 and also preparing castle here, and also there is no point in playing the bishop to g5, there is no pin on this diagonal, so he puts his bishop on e7 to stop that pin. And anyways, white goes for that idea. Here he just want to guard his knight so that he can just move his bishop anywhere so that the knight is not pinned in this area. So he puts his knight here so that if it capture, we can just capture with our queen. There is no need for the queen to capture. We can just capture back with the knight here. And here we pushes the pawn to e3 and also looking at the c4 pawn. In case if we captures the pawn, we will capture back. And now he goes for a kingside castle that is known as orthodox defense here in the Queen's Gambit Declined variation. Now he puts his queen to c2 and also looking at the h7 square here. Maybe we can also sack the queen if the knight ever moves the here or somewhere else. You can also have that idea in mind. Here he goes for a c5. This is a Robinson variation of the Queen's Gambit Declined variation. Here we just capture the pawn on the center, taking pressure from the center here. He just captures back. And as you see, this position has been occurred in only 170 games. This is a very rare game here. Here he just sets a small trap in this variation. That is, he just captured the knight here and asking the bishop whether asking black whether you want to capture the bishop or you want to capture the knight here. And here black goes for a capture of bishop idea. Then white is setting up a small trap in this variation. He just pushes the pawn to h4. And the best move in the situation was to retrieve back in the situation. That is bishop to h6 or and then we can just come back with our knight, and after the pawn captures here it will just capture, and this position is playable for both of them. But in this case he just didn't move his bishop. Instead the queen wants to attack our king. Is the queen give this check here? This move is actually a blunder in the situation. We have an interesting move to play on in the situation. That is, I give you a few seconds. You can also try it on yourself. I hope you guys found this move. That is, we can just push the pawn to b4, and as you see, we are attacking the queen and attacking the bishop, and his piece was attacking our knight. And also mention that the queen can't capture the pawn here because our knight will just guarding the b4 pawn here. This b4 push is a intermediate move, which is something more super in this position to watch. And the best move was to just to put his queen here and just continue the position by giving up the bishop free here. And but there is no point in giving up the bishop, right? We can just capture and continue the game. What happens here? Because our knight is hanging, our bishop is hanging, there is no problem in it. We can just continue it, and we also threatening b3 check, and after the b3 check, if the white is not careful, if he captures something like that, we can just give him this check, and after the king moves, we can just pick up the queen in this area. This is also in the position. But there is no point in pushing our queen backward and want to give up the piece for free. So in the position, black just captures the pawn in here, and after that, we just sack our queen on h7. This is the move you have to spot here, because we are just giving up the queen. As I mentioned earlier, we can even sack our queen on h7 if the knight ever moves from the f6 square. In the position, we just give up the queen. But are you thinking, what's the compensation in it? Because after the king captures, we can just capture the bishop here and use this open check to the king here. And the king have only two squares, that is coming forward or to go back here. If we just go back, we can just deliver this check and it's a checkmate here. That is not good. And same can be said for the, if it goes up the board, we can also deliver this check. And as you mentioned that this position is also covered by our knight. This is given and this pawn covers both the squares and the rook covers this diagonal, and it is not easy for the king to survive in this position. So the queen sacrifice was really a strong move. This move actually only takes 14 moves to win the game. This is quite interesting. The biggest blunder of the game is queen to a5 plus. We should only attack when we need to. There is no need to give unwanted checks in this position. That's what we have learned from this game. I hope you guys enjoy the video. Hit the like button and keep supporting this channel. And thank you for your support. This is Naveen Prabhu signing off.